It is the Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports. I'm going to start today's show by just a simple request. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Right below the video, there's a button that says subscribe. It's red if you haven't subscribed. Hit it. It'll turn gray. I'll make you feel good, and you won't miss any videos on Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines program put out by this glorious channel. It is youtube.com/Michigan TV. We're going to take your questions today. It's the Michigan Football Mailbag coming up right now. Big shout out to Magic Spoon Cereal, our presenting sponsor of today's show. Let me get a quick bite before we start. I'm not going to talk into the microphone, hurt your ears, smacking my gums or anything like that. Magic Spoon, awesome cereal. MagicSpoon.com/GoBlue for $5 off your first order. Let's get into the Michigan Football Mailbag here on today's show. And the first question on today's show comes actually from the Michigan Football Report. I think our producer hacked the questions and threw it in there. He says, what the heck will this team even look like this season? And it's a hell of a question because I have no idea, right? I don't know if I've ever approached a Michigan football season in my life where I don't know what to expect. And I think most folks are expecting a mediocre season at best, but Jim Harbaugh has surprised us in the past. Certainly his first season, 2015, more people are down in this program than they currently are right now. The only optimism was Harbaugh himself. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go into it more throughout the rest of the show, but I don't really know. I think there's a lot to be learned from this team. Only 16 days until their first game. Christo with the next question coming up. He says, I think it's hard to say. D and the front seven, the wide receivers, the strength. Not sure about the QB play. Not sure the QB play will be better. If it is, maybe 10-2, or maybe a win against Ohio State. Otherwise, 8-4. I think the road schedule is tough. Of course, Wisconsin, Penn State, Nebraska, all looming. And I think you're kind of crazy there, Christo, thinking that the floor is 8-4, the ceiling is 10-2. I think that's kind of a tight gap. I think the floor for this team could be as low as 5-7. Maybe the upside is 10-2 if Jim Harbaugh really, he's looking slim, he's looking fit, but I have no idea what to expect this season. Let's just kind of talk about what we know about this team. You've got an unproven quarterback who started one game in his entire college career, has thrown 50, 60, 70 passes, something like that in total. Whoop, little Magic Spoon cereal falling over there. You've got a very unproven offensive line. They got a lot of play last year, but it was mostly because there were so many injuries between Jalen Mayfield and quite a few others. But you've got some talent in the offensive line, a completely unproductive wide receiving core. You know the names. Ronnie Bell has had some production, but he's not a superstar. No one knows what to expect from Dalen Baldwin. Mike Sainristil, guys, you know the name because there's some hype around him as a recruit, but he has done barely nothing in his years at Michigan from a receiving perspective. And then think about the running back situation. Hassan Haskins should have been the starting running back 2 years ago. Last year, this rotation didn't really work out. And then they're coming off the most, embarrassing defense that this program has seen since Rich Rod's first year, maybe his second year, 2008, 2009. So all those things put together, everything is unproven. And I think outside of Aiden Hutchinson, Daxton Hill, and a couple offensive linemen, Hassan Haskins, there's no one on this team that even has a chance to be a star based on what we know from their prior play in this program. So I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to tell me, I think it's 1%, unfortunately, but what is the percentage chance you give Michigan to win the Big Ten here in 2021 to break an absurdly long streak of this program not winning a Big Ten championship? Answer below in the comments. I'll jump down there. I'm not going to tell you my final answer right now. I'll reply to a few of you guys. Percentage chance that Michigan wins the Big Ten. And make sure you get going over to magicspoon.com/GoBlue. This is the best cereal. It has revived my love for morning food for cereal. I went a decade or so with not eating cereal because it just gives you a big beer belly. Look at me. I'm defying the logic of aging here because of Magic Spoon. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I'm starting my day with Magic Spoon cereal. It is phenomenal. 13 grams of proteins, low carbs, sweet and delicious, and there is no sugar. It tastes like the fruity cereal, the sugar pack stuff you ate as a little kid, but it is healthy for an adult. Get going with Magic Spoon. Get $5 off your first order. magicspoon.com/GoBlue. Trust me, you will absolutely love this stuff. So shout out to them for being the presenting sponsor of today's Michigan Football Report with 16 days left until Michigan gets going on September 4th against Western Michigan. Nick With the next question coming up on today's Michigan Football Mailbag, are you going to consistently make videos, or do we have to start watching Mark Rodgers? All right, you can watch Mark Rodgers if you're a stiff and a scrub, because that guy's bringing no energy like your boy James Yoder. So took a little break, went to the Hamptons, took the family on a little summer vacay. No big deal, guys. I'm back, so you need to relax. If you've been watching the Michigan podcast or Mark Rodgers or Sloppy Sam on the radio, all that's over, because I am back and better than ever. It is August 20th, and we're going to be putting out videos basically daily here going forward until the end of the season. So no more watching Mark Rodgers or the podcast or Sloppy Sam. Stick here on the Michigan Football Report. Thank you so much to Nick for the question. All right. And this guy puts question 1. He was one of the first responders to the call for questions on our YouTube community. He says, question 1, where have you been? Well, I kind of just covered that, but want to give David some attribution for also having a similar question to the last guy. And David, been just hitting the yacht with the fam, smoking cigars, and taking in the sun and the fun out by the ocean. But I'm back again. We're going to be doing this for the rest of the year, all the way through, hopefully, a bowl game in early January of next year. And if you've been following me on Twitter, you know where I've been. So it's at James Yoder on Twitter. I thanked you guys yesterday so much for getting us to over 7,000, sitting around 7,100 followers on Twitter. So if you want to know what I'm up to, if we're not putting out videos ever again, just follow me on Twitter. I'm documenting my entire life as a Michigan football fan on Twitter at all times. Christo, coming in with the question, Cristo Soldado, great name. Bring back the Maize road pants. I agree. Michigan's worn them one time in the 6 years Jim Harbaugh's been the head coach. That was the 2017 game against Penn State, in which they got very soundly beat. And I don't know anybody who really likes the all-white roads. I think they were a cool idea when Harbaugh brought them in 2015, but they're just boring as hell. They don't really pop with any blue, and Michigan's helmet has the maize and blue on it, so why don't we just have maize and blue uniforms with the white, obviously the white jerseys on the road. But I don't like the all whites. I hope Michigan brings a maize pants, and I think those blue pants would actually work as a road uniform, switching it up a little bit here and there, like we saw throughout spring practice. And a bunch of recruits have taken photos, posted them on the internet of them wearing all kinds of different uniform combos. So maybe Jim Harbaugh is down on his luck as a coach. Maybe he's going to spice it up with a bunch of new uniform combos this year. Brian Scott, cousin of executive producer Brett, what percentage of the carries do you expect Haskins, Corum, and Edwards to get respectively, and do you see us riding whoever is hot that day? Look, the running back rotation that Josh Gattis has tried to roll out at this program, this offense the last 2 years, it just didn't work last year. Just it was terribly bad in 2020 and pretty damn bad in 2019. But they were trying to rotate 4 different running backs and give them almost equal carries last year. It didn't work at all. We saw a running back start off the year, who am I thinking? Zach Charbonnet, 70-yard run in the opener against Minnesota. Then he got like 5 carries over the next 2.5 games going into the 4th game of the year. So it was really strange. It didn't work at all what Josh Gattis rolled out. And frankly, they need to find one running back. I believe that running back is Hassan Haskins. Give him 18 to 22 carries a game. And if Blake Corum or Donovan Edwards comes in and they just absolutely set the world on fire, then you make the switch. But you don't just say, well, we got to make this guy happy. We need to do this, that. We're going to give everybody 6 carries. It's not going to work. So answer this question below. All I want you to do is type their initials. Who will have the most rushing yards for the Michigan football program in this 2021 season? If it's Hassan Haskins, 4th year in the program, type HH. Is it sophomore Blake Corum, type BC. And if you think it's the true freshman 5-star superstar Donovan Edwards, go down and type DE in the comments. I'm going to give you an HH, and I hope it's not even close at this point. I hope Hassan Haskins is a 1,000-yard plus back. Corum, Edwards, 200-300 yards at best. We'll see what Josh Gattis does. He's on a lot hotter seat than I am at this point, so I guess it's his decision to make. If he makes the wrong decision, he's going to be looking for a new job come end of this year, early next year. Question coming up here. Who we got? What's the question from? It is from Diggyba. What's the most important game for Harbaugh and company? The most important game of this year? And people are going to say, oh, it's got to be Ohio State. I don't think it is, okay? I'm giving it a nah. I think it's Michigan State or Washington. Washington being obviously the second game of the year. If you win that game, a night game, you likely start off the year 4-0 going into Wisconsin in the 5th Saturday of the fall. Feeling pretty good about yourself, probably expecting a loss. But if you lose to Washington, you're going to lose to Wisconsin. I mean, I don't think there's anyone who's trying to fool you on that. So then all of a sudden you're sitting there 3-2 with the toughest schedule that last 6 weeks of the year being ahead of you. You're trending towards a 6-6 season at that point for me, with with absolutely no confidence that you can get any big wins. So I think that one's there. And then Michigan State. Michigan was a 24-point favorite last year and lost at home to Michigan State. Okay, if you lose again, Harbaugh drops to 3-4 against Michigan State after starting off with the loss in 2015, but starting off pretty good against the Spartans. So if you lose that game, I think Harbaugh is gone no matter what. So those are the most important 2 games for me. One from a just a vengeance perspective, and the other one is just setting the tone for the season. Next question up, coming from Jeremy Chugs with a dog as his profile photo. Is this the year we take down Ohio State? It probably is the only opportunity, because they will start a freshman-eligible quarterback, either a redshirt freshman, C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, or a true freshman, Quinn Ewers, who's skipping his senior year of high school, or Kyle McCord. And I'm just going to say this. I've been saying it for almost 2 years now. Michigan needs to beat Ohio State again. Use that hashtag Bosa. If you're saying on social media, you might see me in the comments, the replies on Michigan Twitter, just typing that exact thing. There's nothing I believe that should make a reasonable person think that this is the year. Ohio State has no questions, other than maybe, I don't know, their defensive secondary might be a little bit unproven, and the quarterback position is unproven, but you've got 3 5-star level quarterbacks and another top 100 guy fighting it out. So they're going to put somebody back there who is as good as anybody in the Big Ten this year. So if Michigan's going to win this game, Cade McNamara is going to have a heck of a season, and Josh Gattis is going to have to prove that he is just not an absolute failure as Michigan's offensive coordinator now going into his 3rd year at the helm. But answer the question for me. Are we beating Ohio State this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Like, I'm just going to type no, and I hope I'm wrong. And I'll eat my hat if they do beat Ohio State, if I'm proven wrong. But just know I'm rooting for them as always. Robert Childers coming in from our Facebook page. It is facebook.com/HarbaughGoBlue, all one word. This is just my opinion. Big question. I think Michigan should drop Nebraska and add a lot of other teams and have winners of each division playoff for the Big Ten championship. Interesting idea, like kind of a pod idea. West being Iowa, Iowa State, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois. North being Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Northwestern. MSU, that's Michigan State, MSU. Notre Dame, Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, Purdue in the Central. Then Ohio State, Penn State, West Virginia, Maryland, Rutgers in the East. And then I guess have some sort of 4-team playoff. Not a bad idea. I think it would separate the Big Ten, give them some something to differentiate themselves from the SEC. So be pretty interesting to think about that. I don't necessarily think you need to kick out Nebraska just to add Kansas. That would make no sense to me. And add Iowa State, get rid of Nebraska. I don't like that. I think there's plenty of other teams Michigan could, or the Big Ten could bring in if they're trying to expand to 20 or 24 teams and have a 4-division pod to go to a 4-team Big Ten playoff. Wally coming in on Facebook as well. Loudmouth Jimmy needs to go. You know what? I'm here to stay, okay? Producer said you're talking about Jim Harbaugh. Okay, I thought you were talking about me. I was going to take offense to it, Wally. But if you're talking about Jim Harbaugh, I would agree with you. I don't think that you can start 0-5. Would have been 0-6 to Ohio State had they played the game last year. I don't think you can do that as Michigan's coach and keep your job. So this is potentially Jim Harbaugh's last hurrah. If you go 9-3 and you don't get blown out in 2 or 3 games, you probably come back next year. If you're 8-4, it's kind of on the cusp. Anything less than that, and if you got a blowout in there to Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Washington, I don't know, honestly, how you can bring back Jim Harbaugh for an 8th year in 2022, but we will see what happens. 15 days now until Michigan gets going, Western Michigan on September 4th against Western in the Big House. Last but not least today, make sure to subscribe again one more time at youtube.com/MichiganTV. Turn that red button gray and make sure you get all of our videos. Turn those notifications as well so you get a push notification to your phone. Yoder's got a new video, and click on it and watch. Be one of the first commenters. We'll be back with more videos Monday of next week, couple days. Until then, go Blue.